The official London residence of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, Kensington Palace has a long-standing interesting royal history. For over 300 years, Kensington Palace has been residence to the Britain's young royal families. The royal house is a mix of public palaces and private homes in the heart of Kensington Gardens in the royal borough of Kensington and Chelsea in London. Originally a small and suburban two-story Jacobean mansion, it was built by Sir George Coppin in 1605 in the then Kensington village, 3 miles to the west of London. The first Earl of Nottingham, Heinrich Finch, purchased the property in 1619 and renamed it to Nottingham House. King William III, who was an asthma patient, purchased the villa from the second Earl of Nottingham, Daniel Finch, in 1689 for £20,000. Over the years, Stuart and Georgian monarchs made huge contributions in the transformation of Kensington Palace. First, King William III and his wife Queen Mary III, who wanted a residence near London but away from the smoky air of the capital, commissioned architect Christopher Wren to extend and improve the house. Sir Christopher Wren kept the original architecture of the building intact and enhanced it with pavilion attached to the corner of the central block. The southeast wing was named as the King's Apartment and northwest was called the Queen's Apartment. The Clerk of Works Nicholas Hawksmoor was told to do the job quickly and cheaply, hence the Kensington Palace was built with bricks rather than stones. Queen Mary took a personal interest in the renovations and enhanced the building by adding Queen's Gallery. While a huge workforce was laboring with the building, a team of designers were already preparing decorative schemes for the new rooms. In November 1689, part of a newly built wall collapsed. One man was killed and the others badly injured. It happens minutes after the Queen had toured the site. A shaken Mary wrote to her husband of the incident. "It showed me the hand of God plainly in it, and I was truly humbled." The initial renovation took 6 months and the King and Queen moved in on Christmas Eve in 1689. Sir Christopher Wren then reoriented the house to face west, flanked the entrance by the great stairs, a council chamber and a chapel. A new gallery was also added to the house. Sir Wren turned the design into a proper courtyard that was entered through an archway surmounted by a clock tower. The newly renovated building was called Kensington House and was surrounded by straight-cut solitary lawns and formal stately gardens laid out with the paths and flower beds at the right angles, after the Dutch fashion, to make King William, who came from Holland, feel at home. A private road was laid out from the palace to Hyde Park Corner, broad enough for several carriages to travel abreast. After William and Mary's death, Queen Anne had Christopher Wren complete the extension that William and Mary had begun, the Queen's Apartment especially, with the Queen's entrance and plainly decorated Wren-designed staircase. Queen Anne was not much into architecture, but her most notable contribution to the building was its English-style garden. She commissioned the Hawksmoor design orangery, modified by John Vanbrugh, that was built for her in 1704. After Queen Anne, the palace became the residences of King George I and II. George I enlarged the palace with the addition of an apartment built specially on the northwest side to house his mistress, the Duchess of Kendal. He commissioned an upcoming artist, designer and architect, William Kent, to fill the palace with art and fine furniture, which gave it the refined 18th century Georgian appearance that many of the grand rooms retain till today. Kent's most lasting achievement at Kensington Palace was his painted interiors. The spectacular King's Staircase featured life-size characters from George I's court. In 1728, Queen Caroline, consort of King George II, began the transformation of the 242 acres of Kensington Gardens into the park we see today. She created the Serpentine Boating Lake and the Long Water, as well as the Broad Walk and Round Pond. Until the death of King George II in 1760, Kensington Palace was the favorite residence of sovereigns. After the accession of King George III in 1760, who disliked the palace hugely, Kensington Palace became the residence of minor royalty. In 1805, the southwest wing of the palace, now known as Apartment 1, was given to the first Duke of Sussex, Prince Augustus Frederick, who had a huge interest in arts and science and amassed a huge library that filled 10 rooms and comprised over 50,000 volumes. The Duke caused a huge scandal during his lifetime and lived beyond his means and amassed substantial debts. He died in 1843 and his possessions, including the library, were sold after his death. The fourth son of King George III, Prince Edward, Duke of Kent and Strathern, and his German Duchess, Victoria, was allocated 2 floors of room on the southeast corner of the palace. His daughter Alexandrina Victoria was born on 24th May in 1819 and was baptized in the splendor of the cupola room. In 1837, Alexandrina Victoria was awakened to be told that her uncle King William IV had died and that she was the queen now by Lord Chamberlain and the Archbishop of Canterbury. Alexandrina Victoria picked the regnal name Victoria and chose to reign from Buckingham Palace. It had been expected that Victoria would reside at either Kensington or St. James Palace, but after her first Privy Council in the Red Saloon of Kensington Palace, she moved to Buckingham Palace and never again stayed at her birth home. She famously called Kensington House poor old palace. Queen Victoria allowed the Duke and Duchess of Teck to stay at the palace, hence Queen Mary, the grandmother of the present Queen, was born at Kensington Palace in 1867. A statue of Queen Victoria stands outside the Kensington Palace. It was sculpted by Victoria's fourth daughter Princess Louise and erected in 1893. In 1899, on Queen Victoria's birthday, the palace was opened to the public and began its dual role as a private home to royal family and a public museum. During World War I, King George V allowed a number of rooms in the palace to be used by the Irish soldiers at the front and decreed that its royal inhabitants adhere to the same rations as everyone else. In 1921, upon widowhood, Victoria, the Marchioness of Milford Haven, moved into a grace and favour apartment at Kensington Palace. During this period, her grandson, Prince Philip, lived with her as she was in charge of his education. King Edward VIII referred to the palace as Aunt Heap due to its old age residence. In 1940, the Luftwaffe dropped incendiary bombs on Kensington that exploded in the north side of Clock Court, damaging many of the surrounding buildings, including the Queen's apartments. Prince Philip stayed at Kensington Palace in his grandmother's apartment in 1947 between his engagement and his marriage. The 1950s was a period when the palace was majorly neglected. The next high-profile royals who made Kensington Palace their residence were Princess Margaret, Countess of Snowdon, sister of Queen Elizabeth II, and the Earl of Snowdon in 1960. The Snowdon family initially moved into apartment 10, while they overlooked the renovation of the much larger apartment 1A to new designs with the cost of £85,000 at that time. The royal couple moved into apartment 1A in 1963 following a major renovation that saw the whole interior gutted and all the floors except the attic floor removed and resulted in an apartment having modern color palettes. The apartment 1A consisted of the main reception rooms, 3 principal bedrooms and dressing rooms, 3 principal bathrooms, the nursery accommodation, 9 staff bedrooms, 4 staff bathrooms, 2 staff kitchens, 2 staff sitting rooms, 20 ancillary rooms including a linen store, a luggage room, a drying room, a glass pantry, and a photographic draft room for Lord Snowdon. In 1981, the part of the palace that King George I had built for his mistress, the Duchess of Kendal, apartments 8 and 9 were combined to create the London residence of the newly married Charles, the Prince of Wales, and his wife Diana, Princess of Wales, and it remained the official residence of the princess after their divorce until her death. Both Princes William and Harry spent their childhood at Kensington Palace. Royal author Andrew Morton described the palace as the children's paradise with its long passageways, a helicopter pad, and many outdoor gardens, including one on the roof where the family spent many hours. The infamous BBC Panorama interview was recorded in Diana's sitting room at Kensington Palace. In 1997, after Lady Diana's death in a car accident, Kensington Palace gates were covered with over 1 million bouquets as a tribute to the much-loved Princess of Wales. Her residence lay vacant for 10 years after her death until it was split back into 2 apartments, with apartment 8 being used by 4 of Charles' charities and apartment 9 becoming home of the Chief of Defence Staff. Diana, Princess of Wales, was particularly fond of the sunken garden at Kensington Palace, and in 2017 the planting scheme was transformed into the White Garden in her memory. The new royal residential era at Kensington Palace started when the newly married the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, Prince William and Catherine, started using Nottingham Cottage in the grounds of Kensington Palace as their London residence. The property was also Prince George, their eldest son's first royal home, as William and Catherine lived there from 2011 to 2013. Nottingham Cottage, which is often described as a cozy property, has 2 bedrooms and a reception room, as well as bathroom and small garden. The ceilings of the cottage are so low that William used to stoop a bit to enter inside. The Cambridge family moved to their current residence of apartment 1A, formerly Princess Margaret's home, in 2013 after 18 months long renovation that cost £4.5 million. The renovation saw the installation of new heating, electrics and plasterings as well as a new roof. In 2017, Kensington Palace became the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge's full-time London official residence. The apartment has 3 stories with 3 bedrooms, 2 nurseries and 5 reception rooms. The Duchess of Cambridge did the interior decoration of the apartment with the help of Ben Pentry, who also overlooked her Norfolk home and Mer Hall. She picked the neutral color palette, used the traditional furniture and pieces from the Royal Collection Trust, as well as some new modern pieces from IKEA. In 2016, Diana's former residence, apartment 8, was turned into office space for the couple's staff, official duties and charity work. The Duke and Duchess have hosted multiple engagements, receptions and meetings at the palace. Famously, they welcomed American President Barack Obama and his wife at the palace in 2016. Other royal residents of Kensington Palace today include the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester, the Duke and Duchess of Kent, and Prince and Princess Michael of Kent. Kensington Palace is owned by Her Majesty the Queen on behalf of the nation, with historic royal palaces caring for the parts that are open to the public. Palace is also home to the Royal Ceremonial Dress Collection, with items of royal, ceremonial, and court dresses dating from the 18th century to the present day. Kensington Palace contains many public and private apartments and residences within the building and its grounds. The palace has 50 total residents. Aside from the royals, it also hosts members of the military, courtiers, staff, and citizens who pay market rent. The main part of the palace includes King and Queen State Apartments, Apartment 1, Apartment 1A, Apartment 8 and 9, Apartment 10, Wren House, Nottingham Cottage, Ivy Cottage, King's Kitchen Cottages, and the Upper Lodge, Old Stables, Chapel, and Kensington Garden. If you find the video interesting, please press the like button below and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more royal news.